So you're gonna have, like you said, you're gonna have flashbacks, for lack of better words. You're gonna have triggers, um, and those are normal. They're natural. They're okay. I personally think like the level of response to the triggers kind of says, "Hey, I'm not handling this so well," or "It's really extreme." Um, not being okay still with certain things, because it's no time limit on grieving or healing even. But like a friend of mine says, like with love or relationships, she says that if you are saying stuff like, "Oh, screw love," or "love sucks," or blah 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 blah, after a breakup, you're definitely not ready to get into another
Yeah.
relationship,
Yeah.
or you need to really consider um some time and maybe some help too, or "I'm just thinking about this," or just really extreme feelings.
Yeah.
For me, it was extreme. It was times that I would just cry,
Yeah.
and mind you, I'm a girl, so we're hormonal, and so I'm like, this doesn't really feel very hormonal. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, this is extreme. Like, I'm crying and I don't even know why,
Yeah.
or I'm thinking about this, and this is at a time that nothing's triggered, nothing's happened, but why am I? This just kind of came up. So it's kind of, I think, just extreme feelings of extreme uh, panic, extreme fear, extreme hurt, extreme loss,
Yeah.
extreme pain, emotional and physical. You can physically hurt,
Mm.
and I had a friend. She went to every doctor in the world. They thought she had uh, autoimmune disease, all kind of other stuff. It was emotional anguish,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she physically made herself sick. So those are strong indicators. Like, hey, I may need to seek, you know, um, emotional medical assistance, or just even counseling. So,
Yeah, that's good. That's really
mhm.
good. I think for me, one of the biggest things I learned is that, our emotions are a very interesting thing. And here's the funny part about it: they never taught us about them in school, right?
No,
Nobody told us how to handle them. It's just that we just figured it out, and we
that's
all,
right.
and every last one of us figured it out wrong. That was,
Everybody, nobody
yeah,
taught us
yeah,
it was
figured it out
every
wrong. Nobody gave us the blueprint to them, none of that stuff.
no.
And what I learned, it took me some years to get to this point. But what I learned is that the way I feel is it's an indicator, it's a sign,
Oh yeah.
and it tells me something, not so much about anyone else, but about me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I need to do is ask myself a specific question about what it is I'm feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I ask myself that question, wait for the answer, then compare that answer to my source document, where my belief system is at. For me, that's the Bible. And then if it lines up with the Bible, then I am within reason to feel the way that I feel. And that means I need to have a conversation with the person I feel that way with.
Mm-hmm.
If it does not line up with my source document, then I need to do some adjustments here. Once I
That's good.
started once I started viewing things from that perspective, that number one, it calmed me down a lot. Because I used to be high strung. You gotta
You
realize,
gotta be
yeah,
kidding me.
yeah. You gotta realize I was in the army for 24 years. I used to be high strung. The ninth hand and everything would come out. Like seriously. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just that bit of information calmed me down a lot, right? Because
Uh-huh.
it helped me to slow down and think.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Once I started doing that, then I realized that my emotions were only an indicator of whether or not I harmonized with a particular situation or not.
That's good.
That was the key for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
that helped me to do a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-reflection. And so in the self-reflection, self-assessment, and self-adjustment phases that I went through, I realized that I constantly made, here's my word, micro adjustments to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
To continue to move closer in the direction of who I'm supposed to be.
Where you're
And
supposed to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that was important for me. So signs and
Mm-hmm.
indicators are real key and real important. And I really thank you for sharing your insight on
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So it really does us no good if we can identify something about ourselves if we do not come up with a way or find ways to heal. So when it
Mm-hmm.
comes down to healing, what are some of the things that we can actually do?
Well, you have to. First, it starts with acknowledgement. You can't be in denial. So often we're okay, we're okay, and often we're not okay. So
Yeah.
acknowledgement first. You have to say, "Hey, this really hurt," and you, like with my last pregnancy loss. Like a lot of people don't know this about me, but my son is like my miracle baby. I've had 5 pregnancy losses.
Hmm.
It's a lot.
Wow.
And before we realized, like, oh, this is what's going on with my body, this is what's going on with me. Before we had him, it was like, okay, so it was like it's a that's a whole nother entity. But um, I would just kind of go through it, and people would say stuff like, oh, well, yeah, my sister-in-law had a miscarriage, or we had, or whatever, just kind of blew it off. But I'm thinking, this feels a little different. Like, I just don't want to blow it off, but okay,
Right.
no one's making a big deal about it or whatever. So I had to say, kind of stop and say, hey, I need to deal with this. Like, this hurts, or
Right.
or, like that. So I think, first of all, definitely it's acknowledging, like, there's an issue, or like, hey, I'm hurting. And then you have to a lot of forgiving,
Hmm.
which is the hardest thing to do too. You kind of hit on that with often, like with divorce or separations of friendships or relationships from lovers. It's a lot of finger pointing or a lot of animosity held, and thank God for growth,
Yeah.
that we can be able to go back and forgive. That is I think, to me, that is one of the biggest ways that I have learned how to heal, is to forgive, because normally at the source of hurt, there's a source of the hurt.
Yeah.
And so if you can then go back and say, okay, I forgive you for doing this to me. I'm not going to ever mess with you again. The Bible says I have to love you. I've got to love you.
Yeah.
However, it's a no for me with you being in my life.
Right.
That relieves just so much. I mean, like I said, I just thank God for growth and being able to truly forgive.
Yeah.
Even with my father, like, my brother still won't talk to him, kind of correct. It's just, it's a lot of pain and stuff with this growing up. However, he and I are like almost like BFFs now.
Nice.
And he has never, like, truly apologized per se.
Mm.
I don't know if that's the arrogance or pride, or just, the shame on his behalf or whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's him. For me, this is what I had to do. And it feels good. And so so I know that that's healing. Again, being able to say no is another way to heal. Not committing to stuff that may trigger, that's something else. Going backwards, avoiding certain places, things, and situations. You just have to. I'm not ready to go to another basketball game because whoever I love died at a basketball, or whatever the case may be. You may not be ready to do that. So avoiding certain things kind of gets your strength up too. So, it's a tons of ways to heal. Being in constant prayer for strength. That's very important, because it's the enemy's after our minds.
Of course.
So a lot of stuff is mental. So he doesn't play fair, and so a lot of things start in our minds. So keeping your mind stayed on him, and what you feed will grow. So feeding yourself the word, strengthening yourself, is another way to heal. So and just positive thoughts, positive energy, nothing negative. If it like you said, if it doesn't fit your purpose, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel good, then it's just a no. I'm under construction. Like, no.
I like that.
Right. Yeah.
So there you go. You gave us a whole bunch of good nuggets again. I'm gonna be taking notes. I'm just being honest. So I heard you say acknowledge it. I heard you say forgive. So let me not skip past acknowledging. So acknowledging is very important. First and foremost, we have to be honest with self. The worst form of deception is self-deception. And it is so amazing how many times that we have gone through life deceiving ourselves about one thing or the other. So we must be honest with ourselves. Forgiveness, I think forgiveness is a key, because you talked about forgiving whoever wronged us, but there's another person that we should forgive as well, We need to learn how to forgive ourselves as well.
We
Because,
don't want to forgive
yeah,
ourselves, and you're so right.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Sometimes
Yep.
we'll sit around and we'll just constantly recycle terrible thoughts based upon bad decisions that we made.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
you're human. You're going to it's part of the process. Once we
Right.
embrace the fact that, listen, making a bad decision every now and then so you can go through the growing pains of this thing and learn in the cycle is necessary. So do
Absolutely.
not over abuse yourself for that. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
You're so right about that. Absolutely.
Learning how to say no is a good one. I like that one. I really do. Because
Mhm.
here's what I would tell you. I know for a fact that there are some people pleasers, right?
Oh yeah.
And people pleasers have a very difficult time saying no because they
Mhm.
think somebody will not like them.
Mhm.
Let me be brutally honest with everybody that's listening. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't like you.
You better believe it. uh,
Uh, That's all I got. I'm just being honest.
so,
There's,
so, so, so real quick to interject. So
yeah,
when I was younger, my mom said that I guess she was kind of preparing me for jealousy or haters or prejudice or whatever. But she even saw, I guess you could say, kind of a people pleasing spirit, just this bubbly spirit in me. And maybe third, fourth grade or so, she said she had a talk with she says you're gonna meet people sometimes that just won't like you. Oh,
yeah,
that broke my heart. I was like, well, what if I'm nice to them? Nope, they won't like you. What if I share with them? Nope. I rebutted. I just could not believe. And so I think I still, for a long time, even my adult life, still kind of had this thing like, oh no, they're gonna like me.
yeah,
I'm gonna love on them. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna go all out. And they still, and how not sad, but just it's your heart,
yeah,
and it's still just people are not like you, and that's something else too. You have to realize that people aren't like you, and
yeah,
so,
yeah,
but yeah, so people pleasing. I think even more so than people pleasing, it's just people's genuine
yeah,
hearts,
yeah,
and everyone's not the same, sadly enough.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mhm,
No, that's true, and I think that's key because you do have some extremely compassionate, passionate, loving people, right?
oh
And
yeah,
and I mean, they will do anything they can for you. They will bend over backwards and give you the shirt off their back and give you the last dollar of their pocket. And then somebody, unfortunately, will just take advantage of that and run left and not even talk to you again. And it's like, well, what did I do? Like, you didn't do anything. It had nothing to do with you. So we just got to learn that, it's a facet of life. You know, certain
mhm,
things. I need to say it like this, and I want to make sure that we understand a few things.
mhm,
Things are going to happen in life that does
mhm,
not feel good, that
absolutely,
does not work out for us, and it's intentional, right? It's
mhm,
part of a plan because we need to build up a level of resiliency for what's to come in the future. When we understand that, then it's like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. And so
mhm,
now, as you start to strengthen yourself, you will start to encounter different situations at a higher level and things of that nature. And I
mhm,
think that's important to understand. So we can't
mhm.
we can't stay stuck here, right?
No,
And with
no.
and we keep recycling. So that's another indicator. If we keep recycling over the exact same thing, that's also an indicator that there's something that we need to heal from as well. So
Oh, that's good. Absolutely.
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Going backwards, yeah. This I could have used this a while
I'm
ago.
guilty of that. I
I
am
could have
truly
used this a
guilty.
long time ago.
Yeah,
That was good.
I'm getting better with it, but I still, the whole leopard doesn't change his spots. I'm like, oh yes, they do. I know this leopard's gonna get it right this time. No, they
Yeah.
don't.
No.
They won't.
So this is what I believe, and you please give me your thoughts on that. I believe that everyone has the potential to grow. I believe
Absolutely.
I
Hmm.
also believe that everyone does grow, whether they either choose to grow or whether they grow based upon just simple evolution. Like case in point, COVID-19 has made people grow without a doubt. They had no
Hmm.
choice. They have learned to
Absolutely.
do things differently. Case in point, a lot of
Absolutely.
the school systems have gone to
Hmm.
online learning. They were
Hmm.
forced into a growing process. So I think that
Absolutely.
happens with people as well. Then you have those
Mhm.
people who choose to grow. Those people who choose to grow will go in the accelerated growth program because that's
Mhm.
what they're choosing to do.
Mhm.
Now, I said all that to say, notice I had to take a deep breath first.
Here we go.
Here's a question I have for you. Since we started this,
Okay.
do you
Okay.
believe? And I think you already gave me the answer, but I want you to be clear.
Okay.
Do you believe that people deserve second chances?
Absolutely.
Very good.
When my husband and I were married, we went to a marriage retreat, a Christian marriage retreat,
Mhm.
and the facilitator posed the question that, what if true forgiveness is putting a person, true Jesus forgiveness is putting a person right back in the same position to hurt you again, or before they hurt you? Could you do it? Quiet room. I'm like, oh man. And I have done this. I have done it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But again, that's that really being in prayer about stuff. That's why that's important too in all things before we enter into friendships, before we enter into relationships, because that discernment is,
Yeah.
you have to strengthen that thing so that you'll know, like, yeah, I could forgive them and put them in a certain place, but you have to be mindful not to let them just, you have to use common sense too.
Yeah.
But do I believe people deserve? Absolutely.
Yeah. And
But again, you have to. That's tricky.
it is
I
tricky.
do and I don't, if that makes sense. You know,
I like the forces behind what you just did.
yeah, I'm passionate about that. I'm a forgiver,
Yeah.
and family tells me that too. See, and that's why they feel like they can kind of handle me a certain way, and do certain things to me, because I'll stay upset for a little bit, not even mad, hurt.
Yeah.
My feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
So then I'll think about them, or I'll know that they need something, or like, just to give you a little bit of my character, I have a list for when I hit the lottery, because I'm going to hit the lottery.
Am I on the list? Wait, am I on the list? I need to be on the list. What do I need to do to get on the list?
So we laugh all the time, and so I made this list because a friend of mine, who mind you is no longer a friend, she made the comment. She goes, "Girl, you got to go play the Powerball." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because A, you're lucky, you're a good person, you'll probably win, and you'll share." See, isn't that something?
That is something.
And so, yeah, so I've got this list, and so that just speaks to other. So first is tithing, then it's the God forgive me. First is tithe, then it's, then it's, I'm gonna bless this person. So still with a heart, and some of those people on there don't even deserve to be on the list. But for whatever reason, I know that they may need it, they made this or they made that, so it hits another chance or a second chance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I noticed you didn't tell me that I was on the list, right?
after this, you made the list, but invite me on now.
All right, I'm joking. I appreciate that.
No, but
So for me, I think forgiveness and access is two different things.
oh,
I think we confuse forgiveness with access sometimes, because I think a lot of times because let's be honest, if you have something against another person, they have zero access to you whatsoever. You won't answer their phone call. You won't even entertain a conversation. You might even see them in the street and pretend like you don't see them. However, if you forgive that person, then what you've done is you've kind of reconciled a relationship, which means to make friendly again. That's why I started off with that earlier. So we are friendly again, but you're not going to get back up on the top shelf. You have access. So if you call me, we can talk. You want to go out to eat lunch? We can go out to eat lunch. You ask me what I got going on, I don't mind sharing with you. You want the keys of my truck? Probably not. Just there.
I like the access. That's good. That's good. That's good.
And I think it's just a way of getting to learn the person again, because I think that's really what we do in relationship, right? We are learning one another. And so what we have to do, and this is my thing. I'm not giving relationship advice. I'm not that guy. I'm a coach, not a relationship.
Disclaimer, right?
I gotta be honest. Now, if you're thinking about getting married, I'm a certified marriage coach, so we can talk that.
Okay.
However, for me, I believe that relationship is all about connection. So
Absolutely.
what we don't do is rush to a goal, because once you achieve the goal, people stop working. So what ends up happening is that we take the time, energy, and effort to continue to learn one another. But wait, if you're continually growing and I'm continually growing, that means I have to put in the energy and effort to learn you every day. And there's a scripture that says that husbands get along with your wives according to knowledge. So
That's right.
not yesterday's knowledge, not last week's knowledge or last year's knowledge. So it's continuation to develop the knowledge that you have of that person. And
That's
so
right.
if I forgive a person, I can't just put you back in position, because if I just put you back in position, then that means that I'm going off of yesterday's knowledge. I don't
That's
really
good.
know who you are right now. So I don't mind bringing you closer, because the closer I bring you to me, the more I'm able to see the truth. If I keep you at a distance, then I'm only seeing what you choose to show me. So the closer you come, and now I can see it, because you can't keep it up for but so long. That's what I really do believe.
And I think that technique for me will be for newer relationships.
Yeah.
If a person has been doing you wrong for years and years and years, it's just kind of like you get to the point, like with me, it's like, okay, again, I've got to love you, especially if we have family ties or cordial, but you're not, no access, none at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I get it.